is one of the cheaper options for doing a facial scan and then using that facial scan to generate a virtual avatar that will speak like you in a video. Uh, there's a slightly more sophisticated tool called HeyGen, which we'll also be going over. Uh, Instead of just simply taking a still image or a still photo of your face to generate this virtual avatar of you, HeyGen can optionally take 3 minutes of footage of you talking and gesturing and develop a virtual avatar based on your face and gestures. That's a little bit more high quality than Studio DID, a little higher fidelity, but again, a little bit more expensive to buy into. Uh, the other thing that HeyGen can be useful at is it will dynamically translate videos for you. Uh, so if I upload a clip of me doing a 3-minute presentation about a topic in English, I could use HeyGen to dynamically translate that into, let's say, Mandarin, and it will do my lip synchronization, so it looks like I'm speaking Mandarin, and it'll do using the tone of my voice, it will roughly approximate me speaking Mandarin. There's also a tool called 11 Labs that we'll be going over, which is specifically tuned for doing audio. It's cheaper than the other tools, and it is probably the best tool on the market right now for doing voice cloning or creating a voice font for your voice. They have two different options for cloning your voice. One option is you give it about 1 minute of spoken audio, you reading like a minute of a book or something like that, and it'll generate a rough approximation of your voice. The other option is you provide them with 3 hours of high quality spoken audio of you doing readings, and it can make a very almost like one-to-one facsimile of your voice, which I find really cool. Some other tools we'll be going over today. I we'll go over those as time allows. And there's some reasons of why you might want to do this. I lay out some 5 common reasons why you might want to use AI for both video and audio. Both for personalization, consistent design, accessibility, engagement, and even security. In terms of personalization, I think these tools can be really helpful for creating personalized and multimodal feedback to learners and as practitioners as well as for research in a research context when a facilitator is not available. Right now, it would be pretty pricey to do that with inference costs around doing the video generation and audio generation. But I would say within a year or so, it would become a lot more feasible to at least do dynamic audio generation for learning content. Also, in consistent design, one of the great things with these speech and video synthesis tools is they allow us to create instructional content with a consistent speed, like in terms of voice delivery, tone, and clarity. And anyone who has done a lot of video instructional content will know that it is pretty difficult to do that. To have all your recordings have that same clarity and same style. Some days you're just not feeling it, and your tone might be drag a little bit. You might mumble, and you might have to do a lot of post processing to your video. When we use synthesis to generate our videos and voice content, it eliminates a lot of that overhead with having to tinker with the post processing to ensure that we have a consistent voice product. In terms of accessibility, I guess this gets into a little bit of the consistent design, but it just allows us to reduce some of the overhead associated with some of those laborious tasks around just both doing the recording and also some of the annotation. Auto-generated captions and annotations I find to be very unreliable, and people don't like using them. They find them not particularly accessible. So often I find myself having to do a lot of manual transcription and annotation for and doing the animation so that the words pop up one by one or are highlighted one by one. Very labor-intensive process. AI can reduce a lot of that. And also in terms of engagement, you know, learners tend to feel uh, feel a little bit more pulled in by content that is personalized to them. Having that almost like one-to-one relationship makes it feel a little more authentic, almost just more intimate, and that can improve motivation. So just appealing to the socio-emotional needs of whoever we're designing for. Uh, and then finally, just some people aren't comfortable with sharing how they look to others in video content or trying to get their message out there for research. Uh, and speech synthesis and video synthesis allows us to potentially uh, mask who we are or only share what we're comfortable sharing. We could use uh, uh, maybe change our voice through slightly with audio synthesis, or maybe change our voice in a way that makes us feel a little less self-conscious about how we're presenting ourselves and how we sound. So it opens up the opportunity around allowing us to feel a little bit more secure with how we're presented online. Uh, and with that, let's jump into using some of these tools. So for the first tool I'm going to jump into, I'm going to go to 11 Labs. So we're going to focus on building a voice. Uh, so this is like the default screen of 11 Labs. It allows us to type in a text transcript, uh, and then it allows us to modify some settings around how we want that voice to be generated. To give you an example, let's say we want to take uh, let's say we want to take my clone voice. So I went through the process of cloning. Uh, and you know what? Before I play this, let me actually ensure that I am sharing with sound, just so that we can actually hear what I'm sharing. Uh, so let's see. I could click when you click on like the name. This is just the name of the narrator. So we have a bunch of default options, and it gives you some parameters about like what would be a potential use case for that voice. So with a narrator voice, you get a little
Before
more
you put on a frown, make
clarity
absolutely sure
and
there are no
pacing,
smiles available.
tone that you can maybe suffer with for longer narration. Uh, I can play my. This is a low fidelity clone of my voice. So this is what it will sound like if you do like 3 minutes of audio and what they'll do.
Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things.
So kind of sounds similar to me. The tone is a little flat, but good enough for most contexts. So we could pick my name. We could potentially modify the settings a little bit. Uh, the more we play around with the stability of the voice, the more it will deviate with how we sound. But this could potentially improve the quality and enunciation, but it might miss some of the nuances that are uh, like endemic to my voice. There might be some reasons why you might tinker with this stuff, but usually it's fine to just work with the defaults. Uh, then you have the choice between what model you want to use. So if you are if you know you only want to work with English and you know the model you're really only going to be outputting to English, I find it's best to just click on the English model, because otherwise it will try to, if a word sounds like it, let's say you have like a, I don't know, like a Spanish cognate word that you go over, it'll suddenly like jump over to like me being like super affected Latino voice for me, which can sound a little incongruent and a little weird. So if you know you're only going to be working in English, select English. If you want to work with a different language, then you would select obviously one of the other multilingual models that supports the language you want to work in. So let's first just do like an English. Let's try it out with English. So have a little test script here. Let's play it, and usually within, I don't know, under 10
I
seconds it
hope
will
this
start.
video provided some food for thought on the complex relationship between artificial intelligence and human educators. As AI tools continue to advance, we must thoughtfully consider how they might enhance, rather than replace, the irreplicable human element of teaching and learning.
So that's great. That's me speaking English using a synthesized voice. What if we wanted to have me speak in, let's see what our options are. Let's say we wanted me to speak in Japanese. Let's try it out. So what I can do is I could just head over to ChatGPT or similar tool, or Google Translate if we wanted. We could just say translate this into Japanese. I can get the characters, I don't know, the kanji characters, and just paste this into 11 Labs. I can select the multilingual model that supports Japanese. So this V2 model supports Japanese, and then we can do it.
このビデオが人工知能と人間の教育者との
So now
複
I
雑な
am
関係について考えるきっかけに
my
なったこ
voice
と
is
を目
now
指しています。
speaking Japanese, right? So
AI ツールが進化し続ける中で、
interesting.
教えることと学ぶことの代替不可能な人
Some other applications or other features, I should say, of 11 Labs is there's also a voice library where it's just a curated list of some other high quality voices that you could potentially use to do your narration. So if you don't necessarily want to use your own voice or clone your own voice, there are plenty
We
other
have committed the
voices
golden
out
rule
there
to
that you
memory.
could potentially use.
Let us now commit it to
for
life.
Specific tasks. Does anyone want to give it a go with cloning their voice? I can give you a script to speak over Zoom. I will record it, and then we'll put it into the voice lab, and we can see how it comes out if anyone's willing to. Anyone feeling bold?
If no one does, I'll do it.
You ready to do it, Roberto? Let's do
I
it.
am.
So let's go back to ChatGPT. Let's ask it to create us a little script, 66-second script that you can speak. So create us a 60-second script for the purposes of tuning a voice font model. Alrighty, I will get my OBS recording started, and just let me know when you are ready to go, Roberto.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I'm ready. Hello there. My name's Roberto, and I'll be your guide for the next 60 seconds as we fine-tune a remarkable new technology, the voice font model. Let's begin. I'll read a series of phrases designed to capture the nuances of my speech. Bright sunlight filtered through the leaves. Curiosity often leads to trouble. The quick brown fox jumps over a lazy dog. Now, I'll articulate numbers and letters for precise calibration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'll share a short anecdote to encapsulate varying emotions. When I found the lost kitten in my backyard, it was shivering under a bush. As I approached, it hissed, but I could tell it was just scared. Once it felt the warmth of my home, it purred contentedly. And that's a wrap. Thank you for assisting us in refining this voice font model, bringing digital communication closer to the natural warmth and richness of human interaction.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roberto, for being a good sport with that. I will now pull up your recording file. Let's see. And we'll go to 11 Labs again, and we will go to the voice lab, and we will click, let's add a new voice. And we'll do the instant cloning since this is the one where we can just do it very quickly. And we'll type in Roberto, and then we'll just grab our little voice sample. Let's see, what do? We're slightly over our limit. Let me just trim this very quickly for us, and then we can upload that. Uh, duh, 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 duh. And so what I am doing right now is I am just very quickly saving and
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I'm ready. Hello there. My name's Roberto, and I'll be your guide for the next 60 seconds as we fine tune a remarkable new technology. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I'm ready. Hello there.
all right. I apologize for the delay. I'm just uh, pulling the sample out right now. Alrighty. Let's see.
What was the limit, Devin, on the uploading the file?
It is so the limit is 10 megabytes.
10 megabytes.
What happened was that I was just recording you with OBS, which does like audio and video, and that's why I was getting like kind of a bloated file. So I was just using a audio stripper to strip the audio out of the video file. Normally, if you were just recording like an MP3, you don't really have to worry about that. But yeah, when you're doing an upload to 11 Labs, there is a 10 megabyte limit per each audio clip. So usually, uh, every like I don't know, every 90 seconds of audio is usually around 1 megabyte. So you're usually good for each clip should be around like 10 minutes or so. Uh, so we have our clip uploaded. I will confirm that we have let me get back to that. I will put Roberto back in there, get the clip back in there. Confirm that we got the voice. Let's see. I've got this thing the way it looks like. Get our clip in there, consent, and add the voice. Let's see how it comes out. So now we have Roberto's voice, and we can go back to our speech synthesis. We can just grab no, we can just type in something. We can just type in, hello, welcome to the Generative AI Seminar. This is a voice font of Roberto. And since we're going to be using English, we can just go back to using the English model. We can switch our speaker to Roberto, which let's see if the voice font is ready. Usually it just takes around a minute to generate. So we'll see.
Hello, welcome to the Generative AI Seminar. This is a voice font of Roberto.
So captures some dimensions of Roberto's voice. Isn't an exact facsimile, but it is close. It is close. So that is kind of the breadth of what I wanted to show you all with 11 Labs with voice synthesis. Let's talk about doing some video synthesis. Let's talk about creating a video avatar. So when we go to this is the Studio DID tool that I was mentioning earlier. This is one of the cheaper options for doing the video avatar creation. So they give you the option to, whenever you're creating a video, you could upload, you can either type in a script and have it use a voice that they provide you with, or you can provide them with your own audio file of a spoken voice. If you're comfortable with it, Roberto, we can use the clip that we just generated, and I can just do a screen grab of your face right now in Zoom and actually do the
Go ahead. With glasses or without glasses?
It's up to you. What would you like your little clone to look like? Let me pin you.
Let's leave the glasses on and see how it comes out.
Let me all right, so let me undo the screen share so I can get a good picture of you. All right, let me where's my little snipper? Alrighty, I am going to snip it now then, Roberto. Perfect. Alrighty, let's save this. To downloads. And I will start the screen share again. Unpin. And let's jump back to it's kind of a mess here. So we will pull that short little audio clip that we just generated of Roberto speaking those lines.
Hello, welcome to the Generative AI Seminar. This is a voice font of Roberto.
Save that file, that little 4-second clip. We'll go back to Studio DID, and we'll upload this little PNG that I just grabbed of Roberto, and then we will use this as the base for our avatar. And then I'm going to go, instead of using a script, I'm going to select to use an audio file. We'll use that audio file that we just generated of Roberto speaking, and we'll upload that, and we'll verify.
Hello, welcome to the Generative AI Seminar. This is a voice font of Roberto.
And what I will do next is, now that we have everything finalized, we'll call this Roberto sample, and we'll generate the video. And since it's just like a 4-second clip, it was able to render pretty quickly, and we can play it.
Hello, welcome to the Generative AI Seminar. This is a voice font of Roberto.
So one of the interesting things you'll notice is in the original video, in the original still image, Roberto has his mouth closed, and the tool is approximating what his teeth look like. So had we taken a screenshot with like a smile or with his teeth showing, it would be able to use that information. But with it's
Hello,
doing
welcome to the Generative AI
based on what
Seminar.
it
This is a
thinks.
voice font of Roberto.
So there's still a little uncanniness with how it generates the videos, but it does do like some interpolation of mouth movement, matches your lips to the audio, does a fairly good job with that sort of stuff. And then we could like either download or share that video. I think typically Studio DID supports up to, I think, 10-minute video, so you could conceivably create like a short video script either for a lesson that you want to cover with a research project, or even within actual practice itself, you could just create, you could automate a process for quickly generating instructional little blurb videos about what you want students to do. So that's one of the applications with Studio DID. If we go over to HeyGen, HeyGen is the more sophisticated version of like avatar generation. So in addition to doing what we just did with Roberto, where we took a still image and we turned it into a short clip video of him speaking and his mouth moving, we can also do a longer form avatar generation. And this involves providing video footage. So if we went through the process, we would need to submit like at least 2 minutes of high fidelity video footage in order to get this to work with a high resolution camera. We won't necessarily, since it's kind of tough to do like a high res screen grab of somebody over like over Zoom. We won't necessarily do this, but this is an option if you are serious about wanting to do like high fidelity virtual simulations of your face and you speaking and you gesturing. This is an option. When we do the single like still image grab, the best you are going to get is the lip synchronization, and then also some minor head movement and stuff like that. With this slightly longer form generation where you're actually providing video footage, it will try to bring in some of your gestures and some of the nonverbal cues that you do while speaking. So this is an option for those that maybe either have a little bit more budget to dedicate to video generation or just want something that's higher fidelity. One of the other interesting things that can be done with HeyGen is they can also take video and convert the spoken text from, or the voice and the speaking and whoever the speaker is in the video, from one language to another. So much like 11 Labs was able to take my voice and generate Japanese, you would be able to upload a video of you speaking English and then have it automatically translate translate what you're speaking into Japanese and also have the lips match up. So these are kind of interesting use cases. Can be pricey if you're doing a lot of it. I also wanted to showcase some of the other options that are free. One of the other options for generating video is what's known as Adobe Animate from Audio. Now, this is a little bit more fun. This doesn't necessarily rely on you giving your image, but you could potentially use your voice to do this. What you can do is you provide Adobe Animate with a short narration of you speaking, and it will animate a character to speak those lines. So what we could do is we could pick like the little pencil guy, and we could make him big, and then we could take that audio file of Roberto, and we could have Roberto be the little pencil man. So we'll take that clip, Oh, you know what? We could actually even we'll take the short clip for now. I was going to say we could probably take the longer clip and get a longer animation, but for right now, let's just do a shorter clip. So I take that MP3 file, we add it into Adobe Animate from Audio. We select a little cartoon character, uh, and it will do the lip synchronization with that avatar and animate it accordingly. Normally, you would have to do that. You would have to go to like Adobe Animate, and you would have to animate the lips, and you'd have to animate the eye movements, and it was a whole long process to actually get this sort of animation done. So it's really cool to see this sort of rapid animation done and a free tool, like of all things, right? So
Hello, welcome to the Generative AI Seminar. This is a voice font of Roberto.
so we can have Roberto speaking as a little pencil man, or we could have him speaking as any other character. Could be has some fun implications for K-12, like having especially since you can do it free. Not even just having facilitators or instructors do this, but has some potential with having students playing around with this and making animated videos themselves. They cap you off at around 2 minutes, so you can really only have generate a 2-minute animation from this in one go. But there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to create like a series of 2-minute videos and then splice them all together to get like a more coherent, larger video. So that is Adobe Animate from Audio. One of the other options we have, like free options that we have for generating video, is I guess I shouldn't really say free, since this is technically a Chat GPT plus plugin. But if you are already plugged into the Chat GPT ecosystem, it is one of the tools that would be free for you. And this is known as the CapCut plugin. And what it allows you to do is when you go to ChatGPT and you go to plugins, we could ask it to generate a script for us. So generate a script for us about, let's say, it's the University of Albany. Should have rated the Albany, let's say. Make it 30 seconds. And we'll generate some text from this. And then what we will do is we will ask it to take this script and use that CapCut plugin to generate a associated video. And what ChatGPT will do is it will try to match up the text script with like stock video content. So we'll ask it to take that script with CapCut and generate a short video. And so what it'll do is it will know to use the little plugin, and it will generate for us a brief video that encapsulates the script it generated. So we can click the link that it generates for us. In the process, it's still in the process of rendering that video, but since it's just 30 seconds, it shouldn't take all that long. It's already a third of the way through. This has potential for if you're ever doing like trying to come up with an exciting way to go along with text for a particular lesson or instructional content. This could be a good way of finding stock video content that could go along if you're teaching like about cells or plants or any particular domain. It could find
Welcome to SUNY Albany, a beacon of higher education in New York's capital. Nestled in a campus combining modern architecture with lush greenery, SUNY Albany stands as a hub of innovation, diversity, and academic excellence. From cutting-edge research facilities to a vibrant student life, the university offers a world of opportunities. Whether you're pursuing the arts, sciences, or
so it's a little fun. It takes it does the narration, uses kind of a robotic voice, does the transitions between the still images, finds still images that are kind of relevant to what you type in, and it generates a short video accordingly, complete with some generic upbeat music. So that's another option for in terms of how we can use AI to generate video content. There are a couple other tools. I would say these are a little bit more niche in their use. They are paid tools. One is called Veed.io. The great thing with Veed is you can give it like, I don't know, let's say you did a long you did a long observation, and you have a lot of footage from some sort of classroom observation. It does a really great job at quickly transcribing long form content and creating like dynamics animated subtitles, I'll call it, to go along with it. Uh, uh, which you can do in other tools. You can do that in like Adobe Premiere Pro, but it's a little bit, even in those other Adobe Suite tools, it's kind of difficult to get the captions to be animated. It's still kind of a pain. And Veed really streamlines that process. The other cool thing with Veed is that you can record a video where you are just like reading the lines off of either a teleprompter or off of a piece of paper or just off of the screen, and it can do the eyesight correction so that it makes it look like you are just looking at the camera, rather than like looking down and reading lines and having the very obvious line tracking of you going through a script and reading. It can correct for that and make it just look like you're looking at the camera, which can very often improve engagement with your videos. The other tool is Pictory. And Pictory is pretty good at it's essentially a more sophisticated version of that CapCut tool I demoed, in that you give it a script of content and it is able to generate a just a more fluid video that doesn't just involve a bunch of still images, but actually involves a lot of stock video rather than stock photos that are higher res. And they also have a model for generating AI voices too, like a lot of these other tools do. There's some Venn diagram overlap in the feature set of these tools. But I think that's broadly what I wanted to cover. I wanted to leave some time for answering questions or talking about potential implications of this. So happy to answer any questions or go into depth with any of these tools more if you'd like.
Devan, could you give us an example of a video from Veed, just so that we could see the dynamic animated subtitles?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So let's go back to Veed. And let's take that let me think. What do we want to do with this? Because I don't necessarily, well, I guess we could just use that short video we created with CapCut, or no, because they provide. Let's do let's do the video of that I recorded of you in Zoom reading the line. So we'll upload that video, and we'll have it do the annotations for that. So this is just gonna like kind of look wonky, because it was me using OBS to do a screen recording. But I think the important part is just getting the transcription. So what we would do in Veed is we'd go to just to the subtitles menu on the left, and we just go to like subtitles, and we'd ask to automatically generate subtitles, and we'd ask to do the automatic highlighting, and we'd create the subtitles doing that. Usually it takes around, like, I don't know, 30 seconds per like 5 minutes of audio. So this should be pretty quick. And let's see. So and let me know if you need me to change the settings around, but here is what it looks like.
I haven't read it, but I'm ready. Hello there. My name's Roberto, and I'll be your guide for the next 60 seconds as we fine-tune a remarkable new technology.
It does a good job
voice
at
font
tracking what word you're currently saying.
Let's
and
begin.
animating that accordingly.
I'll read a series
I
of
really
phrases
like, and it's hard to
designed
get
to
like a
capture the
tool that
nuances
does
of my
that
speech.
reliably.
Bright sunlight filtered through the leaves. Curiosity often leads to trouble.
And then like with like a lot of the other tools that do like automatic transcription, it lets you it gives you a transcript that you can easily go through and do your editing accordingly. So that is Veed. That's one of the cool things about it, as well as the other thing, the eye adjustment, which I find really neat, especially if you do a lot of video recordings and you like to use scripts like I do. It can be very helpful with correcting videos.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Any other questions or things you want to see, or if you want to try having your voice cloned or anything, I'm happy to do it.
I posted one of my questions in the chat box. I just think it's possible to do that.
Okay, so you asked if it was possible to ask Roberto to generate content such as answer questions like what ChatGPT usually does. Yeah, so we could absolutely. Do you want to use his voice to answer stuff, or like have a video of him answering stuff? We could do either, right?
Oh, really? It's like we talk to ChatGPT, right? Like a real person. So
Right.
is it possible like make ChatGPT as a Roberto, like a Roberto's chapter, so I can interact with thing like that?
Right. Yeah, there have actually been people that have done that.
Oh,
So
really?
what you would do, so there is an API associated with all of these tools. So you could now it's a lot easier if you just want it to be you interacting with Roberto's voice, because it takes time to actually do the video rendering to render his like face and him talking. So if you just wanted to do like, hey, I ask a question and then it responds in Roberto's voice, you can do that and have it respond pretty quickly with the 11 Labs API. You could make an application that does that. A lot of people have done it. The trickier thing is the second part you were asking is have it have his face and then also have like the animations of him moving his face and actually speaking those lines. That's a little trickier to do just because of like render times associated with like video creation. So it's harder to have that happen very quickly, but you could do that. It's possible. There'd just be more latency.
Thank you. Is it possible like a two-person talk, like two voice and two character on the screen?
I think it could be possible. You could certainly do it such that like you could create a script for two different people, and we could like do the voice response for one. We could generate what the one voice will say, and then we can do it separate for the second voice. I actually did that at my institution that I teach. We actually had a human debate against the AI. So we took like we used we used HeyGen, and you can see I made like a robot version of her, so she was debating against her AI self. So she would respond, and then her like AI counterpart would have speak some lines. So you can have kind of cool dynamics like that.
Experience the static nature of conventional teaching, the
Hey, Devin,
Yeah.
it seems like these tools are very expensive. I found like that this voice lab, if we want to record, that's cost like $1 a month. And then the ChatGPT 4 is like $20 a month.
Right.
So is there a way like you recommend that be like cheaper way to use these?
Right. So yeah, right now, the video generation tools are in a lot of cases are they require subscriptions and they're expensive. The one that I regularly use, just because it's free and you don't have to, I mean, it is a little bit more cartoony, but it does allow you to create kind of cool animations based on a voice. And what you can do is 11 Labs will often allow you to generate like a short clip without having to pay. There are also other tools for just doing the automatic voice generation. There are a ton of free tools out there. If you are not concerned so much about the quality and fidelity of the voice, there are a ton of text-to-speech tools out there that can be used to, like, you give it the script, you create a script in ChatGPT, or you create a script in Claude. You can give it the script, and it'll generate the voice. So let's say, for an example, let's see, we can go to free text to speech. And we can, I know there are a few of them out there. Heard good things about Descript. I don't know if it actually does free. This is free speech to text, so that's not what we want. We just want like a free text to speech. And let's see if we could generate this like generic script, download, play it. Let's see. Robot.
TextMagic Text-to-Speech Converter is a professional text-to-speech program that converts any written text into speech just in seconds.
So we could use a free tool like this, where we would have a little less flexibility of the voices, but maybe that's not a concern for a particular context. And then we would be able to use something like Adobe to automatically animate that. We could take a little ragdoll guy and then take that speech to text and animate it accordingly. But yeah, you're right. A lot of the tools can be expensive. And if it is not like directly related to your research or your practice, it might not always make sense to, obviously, definitely doesn't make sense to subscribe to everything, right? Like, so you have to like specifically calibrate, or find a tool that's calibrated to your needs. In most cases, you probably won't need something like HeyGen unless you are in either is a setting where your research really depends on you having high quality translation of stuff, or high quality delivery of a lot of video content. You don't necessarily want to buy a bunch of AV equipment, or if you just work for a company that just like has unlimited budget, it really doesn't matter that much.
TextMagic Text-to-Speech Converter.
That's great. Thank you. And I'm just also curious, like, what have you brought this into the K-12 classroom? And what do you think the best implication of this?
I have it. I teach in like at a community college, so I am a higher ed context. I've used it with, I have some like early college students, but those are like those people are like functionally in college, I guess, at that point. So I haven't done it in like a middle school or a elementary school context. But I think that would be really exciting to see how they work with some of these tools.
Yeah, I work with Dr. Nee. Our project is working with middle school students to create apps for social good.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like we have a lot of students make those like informational apps.
Right.
like connect with a science project or something.
Right.
So like they could make it like audio too.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually cool. And with the
absolutely.
little avatar. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Right. I think there's a lot of exciting possibilities, especially like in a middle school context around this. I mean, a lot of these kids are growing up in an environment where they're already either building videos on TikTok, or they're just building in general with like Minecraft, Roblox. So they're in a lot of these creator spaces. So it'd be
Yeah,
interesting to also bridge that into like, can we create audio? Can we create like informational learning content that somehow helps with sense making in some way, right?
yeah,
So yeah, I think
yeah,
it's cool.
yeah. I visited a class one time and did observation, and some kids are really smart. They can finish like creating the app really fast. And then
Right.
we were talking, I introduced them like ChatGPT. They're like, what is that? I'm like, you don't know what is ChatGPT? And then yeah, they're really excited to explore new things. So this is a great like try for them of AI, the first step of AI in the classroom.
Right.
This, yeah, cool. Thank you.
Any other questions? Happy to answer any type of question. If not, it's been a pleasure presenting to you all. And if you have any additional questions you want to ask me just offline, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll put my email in chat. It is just dwalton2 at what I think it's like albany.edu.
Evan, could you briefly talk about your next the it's going to be next Friday?
Oh yeah.
The next session?
The next session. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think next session is let me see. I
It's the
might need
ChatGPT.
uh is it the Chat GPT one? What is the name of it? I've already actually forgotten a lot of the schedule stuff. I'm living week by week. Let me pull it up real fast. Let me pull up my meetings. Where are we? I can talk generally though about the next sessions. I think the final session is going to be about strategies for using ChatGPT when doing research. So how do you use ChatGPT as an effective like co-researcher to help you both aggregate articles that are relevant to whatever you're doing, as well as creating draft skeletons for your research potentially. And what are the strategies that we can use to both help it be a good academic writer, because by default a lot of these tools are very bad at just generating text, and they're also not always great at doing interpretations of academic writing. So just some strategies around improving them to be better at doing both of those tasks, and also how can you use them to help with synthesis and idea generation around topics. If there's like a specific domain that you want to work in, what are some strategies that we can use to explore new ideas that may have not had a lot of tread through them yet. Another session that we're doing is specifically on building tools that interact with ChatGPT's API. So this I see as one of like the more important seminars. This is more about like how can we design tools that will interface with ChatGPT without having somebody to log in. So if you're designing a tool for like the K-12 context, designing a tool for middle schoolers, you don't necessarily want them to have to log into ChatGPT because it requires you to have a phone number and it requires you to give up a bunch of potentially sensitive information that you don't want children giving up. So how can we design tools that bypass that and allow them to just interact with it directly and in a more user-friendly interface? ChatGPT doesn't provide you any scaffolding with how to use it, right? So we could potentially build apps that provides a little bit of the scaffolding to help learners reason through the different things that you can do with ChatGPT and make it a little bit easier. Take care of some of the prompting for them. So that I think that might be either next week or the following week. The other one I can't remember off the top of my head.
But it's okay. It's just that's the next week probably. So that's
right.
When you get to next week, you talk about the other one.
Absolutely right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure, everyone. Again, feel free if you have any questions, you can shoot them my way. Any questions about any of the resources I used today, I'm happy to talk about more about like what some of the affordances are and why you might want to use them. And I will see you all next week if you come. Alrighty. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Devan. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.